later.
Early thoughts on Dragon Age Veilborn.
Let's
Hi,
go.
everybody. Ko here with a very early quick thoughts video on Dragon Age Veilguard.
We'll go.
So I played this game now for about 8 hours.
It's about the same as me.
The first 2 hours of the stream were sponsored. And
Yeah, I think I'm playing this game more
I
than 8
now
hours
have a
now, I
pretty good
think.
idea about my initial feelings of this game. Now, I do need to say that I know this game is long, and I don't know how I'm going to feel at the end of it, so we will most likely make another thoughts video when I am done.
That's 2 reacts.
I'm getting the question all the time. What do I think of this game? I'll make a quick video giving you my thoughts. Dragon Age Veilguard is
Please say it's a return to form.
fine.
It's fine.
It's pretty. It runs well. The
Can't relate.
combat is engaging. The overall story arc at this point, as a Dragon Age fan, I am really enjoying.
Really? Damn.
Personally, as somebody who came into the game, like, I've never played Dragon Age before. This is my first game in the series.
No.
I thought it sucked.
Yeah, I think the early story in this game is just bad.
It wasn't bad. But, like, it wasn't terrible, but, like, it just kind of is not really that good.
The sound design is pretty good.
Uh-huh.
And if you take it exactly for what it is fine. Now, when I say fine, that means some parts of it are good, or even
that's true. That part of it, I think that's true. Because, like, okay, we say it's a 6. Would you hook up with a 6, guys? Who would hook up with a 6?
Oof.
They're fine, right? There it is.
above good, above average.
It's
In some
fine.
cases, excellent. Like, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful game, and it actually runs really well. The voice acting, voice acting is pretty great. In most cases, most characters, I love hearing.
How? Wait, are we playing the same game? Is it a different game? Let me check. Asmondgold Coconut Jelly Thoughts on Veilguard. We are playing the same game. Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense.
It's all right.
No, it's not. It's cringe. The dialogue in this game is the most goofiest dialogues I ever seen. It's so goofy.
It's all right. I mean, so he's compared. I think a lot of you guys are confusing two different things. He's talking about voice acting. You're probably thinking of dialogue. I think the voice acting itself is, like, fine. I don't like the dialogue.
What do you mean by voice acting? Hello. It's good to meet you. Yes. We gotta fight the dragon. I understand. This is the voice acting in this game.
But I think the voice acting itself, the way that the words are said, is pretty good. Sure.
No, it's mid-tier.
It's mid. In fact, most characters, the delivery is so good that sometimes it can trump the part that I don't like.
No.
That I'm about to talk about.
He's just overselling the shit out of the
about
game.
this game that is, I don't want to say grating, but it's wearing on me. And the big thing about this game that's wearing on me a little bit is the quality of the writing. And when I say quality of the writing, I don't mean the overall story, but I mean the dialogue between the characters.
So fucking cringe.
Yeah, it's cringy as hell.
So I was doing, like, the what's the word for it? Like, the reputation quest line for Hulkenberg in Metaphor. And then the day after that, I played Dragon Age. And it was like going from eating a Wagyu steak to eating a wheelbarrow full of dicks.
No! I mean, that's exactly what I did too. My previous game in my stream was Metaphor Re Fantasio. Compared to the dialogue writing in that game and this game, it's just night and day. It was bad.
It really was bad.
It was bad. I
It's
completely agree on
incredibly
that.
unnatural. It's very
Metaphor
forced,
annihilates
and
this.
it's very basic. And where in previous games I would look forward to characters talking to each other or telling me bits about the world, I kind of dread when it happens in this game because it feels so homogenized, basic, and frankly like I'm being talked to like a child.
Yeah, pretty
This
much.
is true. So this is the way that like I know that the game doesn't respect your intelligence and treats you like a retard. The fact that I can
Absolutely.
figure out the puzzles. Come on.
The fact that what?
A retard. The fact that I can figure out the puzzles.
The fact that you can't figure out the puzzles.
Come on.
What puzzles? What? All you do is go and grab the what do you call it, the diamond thing, and then put it on the place. That's not a puzzle. What?
There's no way that should have happened.
It is, they're constantly just, they're not adding to the scenes when they talk. They're making
Fucking so true. A rock falls down. Well, that happened. Right? The fuck out of here.
Yeah.
sure you know what's going on. They're making sure you understand it. It's basic dialogue designed to deliver information, not to deliver an immersive narrative experience.
It's crazy how, you know what, you want to know two examples that I think do this so much better? I think Throne and Liberty really does a great job with this, with having the narrator paraphrase everything that happens in quests. And I think also,
I haven't
whenever
played
you're
that
moving
game, so
around
I
in
have no idea.
Development Runner in Metaphor, where like the narrator there kind of tells you like what you're doing and where you're going.
Absolutely, that was
Like,
got it.
I think that like there's just so many use cases that are again, guys, I haven't played. I'm not allowed to play Baldur's Gate 3 until I play every single other turn-based game that's ever been created. And so I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 yet. I'm working through Metaphor, then we're gonna have to do a bunch of other ones. But the fact is that
Here's the thing. This game, Dragon Age into what do you call it? I still going back to Inquisition for some reason. Dragon Age Veilguard feels like a game that's set up on fantasy, and the dialogues are pretty much you have a conversation in the people's that's just walking around in the Walmart. That's how it feels like. The dialogue is not fantastical in any way. It's just so normalized. It's normalized to the point. It's just weird. In Metaphor Fantasio, the voice ending itself, like the dialogue between two people, is just in a way it's more fantasy oriented than the normalized one. But I could argue that voice dialogue between two people was different because two of them, Eisenberg and Stroll, in that game were nobles. So they speak in a more sophisticated way, right? So you could argue against that, but still, it's still a better writing though. You should definitely try Metaphor Fantasio and then play this game and you will see the difference. Like that game was a 9 and this game is a 3. It was so obvious how much the quality is different.
I don't know. I think that the dialogue is just, there are a lot of use cases where dialogue is great.
Let's accept the fact. It's just bad. Like, come on. Let's say it as it is. The dialogue in this game, bad. That's it.
And
End of the
I
story.
just think that
It's bad. It's laughably cringeworthy. And then it just makes no sense most of the time. Let me show you a clip. I'm going to show it to you. The recent dialogue I had in this game, you guys have to see it in order to believe it, right? Watch this. This is the most interesting dialogue we had in the game. Throughout the gameplay. Oh, come on. Opening up this thing. There we go. This is the dialogue in the game. The most interesting, engaging dialogue. Wait, that's your ex? I think that girl, that is slimy
Did
monster.
Mythal call Solus love in that memory?
That's what it sounded like.
So they were doing it.
The elven gods were free with their emotions. They felt things deeply. The way they express things, well, it feels romantic to us, but that wasn't really how it was. Back then, I mean.
Nah, they were doing it.
Oh my god! Yes, obviously.
Oh, they were absolutely doing it.
Being with someone you're rebelling against? It doesn't sound like Solus.
He also met her in secret and talked about how they could run off together.
It sounded so tragic and romantic.
Oh, wait. Never mind. That does sound like him.
So the Dread Wolf goes to Mythal. They might
This is the best dialogue I ever seen in this game. And if this is the best, you can imagine the worst.
Dragon Age Veilguard. The
That is the most engaging dialogue in this whole
dialogue, in
game.
my opinion, is the weakest part of the entire game. That's the. If I was to say what's the worst part of the game, the dialogue.
I think that's one of the biggest problems with this game.
I would say for me personally, the lock-on system being a piece of shit. And it's just a sucks ass to fight it with the lock-on system in this game. That is the worst part for me. I don't really care about the dialogue that much. It's just you just laugh it off and then move on, right? But the main part about this game, the thing that's killing the game for me is just the janky ass lock-on system that just soft locks most of the time and make you miss your attack. It just sucks. Especially when you fight a big monster. Oh boy. That lock-on system is gonna ruin your life.
The dialogue in this game is not immersive dialogue.
It's laughably
is
bad.
vehicular dialogue. And that is the term that I would use for Dragon Age Veilguard. It is not Baldur's Gate 3. It is not Cyberpunk. It is not writing to make you feel like you're in the world. It is.
That's a really good way of saying it. It's
Yeah.
not immersive writing. I completely agree with that perspective. That's really smart. Yeah.
That's true. Absolutely true.
writing to project you forward or make sure you know what you need to continue on. It feels like tutorial writing. It feels like
No, I don't think so. It's not even that. It's just they speak random stuff like this.
Sounded like.
And it's just
So they were call Solus
weird.
love in that memory.
That's what it sounded like.
So they were doing it.
The
What does this add to the story?
elven gods were free with their emotions. They felt things deeply. The way they express things, well, it feels romantic to us, but that wasn't really how it was. Back then, I mean.
Nah, they were doing it.
See, like this is the writing they came up with.
it's not there to add.
It's not telling you anything. It doesn't tell you anything. It's just random. It's random. It doesn't add anything at all. That is the most engaging dialogue in the game, by the way. At least so far I see it.
It's there to confirm that you know what's going on.
You're a good boy.
And that works in some games. That's okay in some games. But this is an immersive, large role-playing game. You are playing.
Well, and do you see how kind of like this problem? So like, it's like a weird thing where the meta level problem of talking down to the player. Let me go ahead and just make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see everything. This is a problem that manifests itself in multiple ways. And for example,
Okay,
it
talking down
manifests
to the
itself in the
players.
way of annoying dialogue.
Nine dialogue,
That,
okay, fair enough.
You know, like basically what Ko is saying. I'm just going to say that. And then it also manifests itself in
Talking about
social issues. And they both come from the same tree. of talking down to the player. And I think this is where the problem is with a lot of these games, is that the games that try to ham-fist in ideology, oftentimes that is a mining canary for a deeper problem with the writing. And that deeper problem is not the social issues. It's what that infers from the rest of the story and how that type of writing will manifest itself in storytelling on a macro level for the whole game.
So basically, what he is saying is, it's not about the what do you call it, the what's that word? The social information they are giving inside the game. It's just the way it just presents itself inside the game, right? If you wrote this with a better writing, better voice acting, instead of just a hand fisting the social justice, like you have to be in this way, you have to do it this way, these things are bad, these things are good. Instead of doing that in the most obvious, least amount of effort way possible, they should have made the player realize on their own that these kind of stuff is bad, which feels more natural. This is just straight up artificial. Everything feels not like a natural at all. It feels like it's forced in. That's the issue these kind of games having these days. You know, the good example for that is once again Metaphor, because they did it in a way that is one character that you joins your party because of the racial discrimination he's been affected with, that basically ruined his life. And then you kind of save him out of it, and then he breaks out of the shell, and then he changes his goal, and then works together with you in order to change that racial discrimination in the game. You see how they made it in such a good way, it felt more natural. That the person itself, as a character, developed his personality and then rised above himself from the bad place he was at the first time we met him. You see how natural it's not just instant, it's just gradual increment of their personality which makes you like them. You know? That's this game. It's so simple. The reason for this AAA game sucking this bad, even though the concept is the same, is just they are not willing to put more effort into the game. Like straight up, period. Like when the game became a business, they just want to put least amount of effort and then want to get most amount of profit, right? That's why it's just so mediocre and it's just surface level. Everything is surface level in this what do you call it? Dialogue writing and story wise. You know, instead of just writing a better character.
You see kind of where I'm coming from here? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a
role.
visualization.
And granted, you could say it's an action role-playing game, but still, you are a person and you need to be treated as that role. But the dialogue is not treating us as Rook, the leader of the resistance.
Ooh.
I'm not being talked to like
The
an adult
Vanguard,
who's
yeah.
leading people. I'm being talked to like I'm a kid that needs to have his hand held through every area, and that
Do you remember? Hey, stupid. Hey, do you remember? So there's a block, and then you have to put the block in the hole that's the same size as the block. Hey, remember this? Remember? Hey, dumbass. Do you remember whenever you had to do this before? You got to do it again. Hey, look. Hey, the block's over here. You should use it on the hole over there. Why don't you pick the block up? Hey, listen.
I never get to play that role. So
There is a ladder
with this game.
Yo, dude,
I feel like
we can use the ladder.
they've overgamed it, and by overgaming it, by making the dialogue so vehicular, they have significantly reduced all the stuff that I feel a lot of us love in these games. Which is
like Cyberpunk. Like I was playing Cyberpunk, and I was in deep because it had so much vocabulary and language that provided a perspective of escapism, and I think that games.
I didn't feel like that in Cyberpunk, but I sure as did felt like that in Metaphor Refantasio. Metaphor Refantasio and Final Fantasy 16. The dialogue in those two games Damn. It feels like that guy, the Clive Roswell, feels like he is there. He is a real person. You know? Like that is super rare these days. Like in The Witcher 3, Geralt of Rivia is really Geralt of Rivia. He speaks, act, and moves like one.
Can do that. They can create that escapism and
That is so
creating a
cool.
lot of like modern language. Like Cyberpunk had modern language, but it had like, you know, like future language, like all the like weird vocabulary.
Yeah, what's that? The Chrome. They just came up with that word, chromed up or something.
Getting lost in them. We love to get
yeah.
lost in these games. I
Tumba.
want to be Rook,
Chrome.
but I can't be Rook. When I pull up to a dock and I get 3 sentences from a person explaining what a dock is and why there should be boats there and they're not. Like, that's...
Yeah. Oh, wow. There's nobody here. It's market day and everybody's gone. What? I think there's something wrong.
And there's that kind of stuff all over the place where it's just like obvious stuff, obvious things looking around. And most importantly, it's devoid of that dialogue that like adds to the region. You know, it's one thing to go up to an area and have the person say, oh, it's a dock. There should be boats here and it's empty. And it's another thing to pull up and be like, oh, it's this dock. I was here 4 years ago. It was packed with people. I had a shop over there and I remember this flooding with areas and now I can't believe it's this empty. Like one of those is a character expressing emotion over something they lost. The other is delivering information. Like
the other is fulfilling a word count requirement before you turn in your essay in 7th grade. That's what it is.
Yep, absolutely.
Looked it up on Wikipedia.
I think that both are suck. I think the best way to say that dialogue is just simply as this in a more sad voice. I used to know this place was packed with people. You know, that's it. You don't have to say more than that. You know?
So it's weird. It's weird. So it's and that happens all the time.
It's weird, it's forced, it doesn't make any sense. Like people don't talk like that. Like it's just odd.
Where I feel like I'm being educated or told. And there's
I got educated yesterday.
How?
Remember that?
What happened?
By the mirror. I got re-educated. Yeah.
For the record, there's this other scene in the game that I've seen but I haven't encountered yet. And I'm not going to talk about the scene, but what I will say is when I saw that scene, the internet is exploding over the content of the scene. I watched that scene and all I could think of is, screw the content of the scene. I feel like I'm watching a Dare commercial in middle school. Like I felt like
Oh God. Oh God. I'm doing push-ups because I misgendered you. I used the wrong pronouns. Oh my God.
I was sitting in the audience at middle school watching a bunch of adults do a performance that was supposed to tell me how to feel about something.
Yeah, the weird thing is that, I don't know if you guys had the same thing in school, like back in the 90s, but man, there's nothing that made me want to try drugs more than watching the commercials that they had on not to try drugs. Man, those were fucking terrible, huh?
Yikes.
Screw whatever it is I'm supposed to feel about.
Yeah.
The whole framework of that is just uncomfortable. Like that's not why we play games. That's not like that's like forget the message.
Yeah.
But it's like that's not it. So anyway, I know this got a little ranty, but it's really hard.
It's patronizing the player and talking down to the player.
Yeah.
That's the root of the issue, and patronizing players on social issues is simply a branch.
Take a game like this seriously when we live in a world of Baldur's Gate 3s and Cyberpunks.
Yeah.
It's really tough when there's this much of a schism where it's like where some games do it so well and then other
I don't know. This game has an identity issue. Like what I'm thinking about, in a sense, it starts up quite dark, right? You try to stop a ritual, and then the blight comes out. Everybody dies. You just go into a village, and the village just has tumor all over the place. It's dark. It's gross. And then you just make fun of them, and then it becomes a Looney Tune. Like it doesn't work. Like it's so hard to pull that off with both the darkness at the same time, funny aspects as well. You know?
games just don't. And I do need to point out at this point, we're talking
Yeah.
about one facet of Veilguard. I know you guys are probably going like, "Oh, Co hates Dragon Age Veilguard. This is terrible." Blah, blah, blah. But no, it's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this.
Yeah. So who cares if he hates the very god? Why? Why? What's the problem? Like you can't really blame the guy. You know, he hates the game for his
One
reasons.
part of Veilguard is so bad that
You
it
know?
kind of drags down the other parts. And
Lost Ark did that. I have never seen a game with worse dialogue than Lost Ark. And you know what makes it even funnier? The fact that Lost Ark was delayed by Amazon because the dialogue was bad, and they wanted to delay it so they could make the dialogue better. I wonder what it was like before the delay.
and that stinks. And the reason I make videos like this is for a very small chance that one day somebody in a decision point sees a video like this and goes, "Oh, maybe we're better off taking risks instead of homogenizing our product through a broader."
Here's the thing: the people that play your video games are freaking 30-year-old men that have at least 2 degrees on their freaking name and working in a software or hardware engineer, dude. Come on. Their children don't play Dragon Age. They play Fortnite.
Audience,
Jesus
which is what
Christ.
I feel like is going on in this case. I feel like
I think that's exactly what.
Who plays Dragon Age? I'm pretty sure Dragon Age fan base is probably around the age group from 20 to 30, 30 to 40 or something like that. Nobody below 20 is playing Dragon Age.
happens, and he's completely right. And if you look at it from a
I would be
macro level,
surprised.
I think that the problem is that companies have like these massive budgets for games, and the massive budgets for games make it to where they feel like they're required to hit such a wide audience of players that they end up devaluing and watering down the experience of the game. And it's like, one size fits all is actually one size fits none. I think that's what happens with a lot of these AAA games.
I feel like when
It's
we
safe,
get
yeah.
dialogue like this in games, it's because it's being brought down to such a basic level that everyone will be able to.
I mean, this is my tinfoil hat theory. They make the game work because people will fight against that instead of just talking about the actual issues in the game. You know? Like the lock-on system is garbage, the dialogue writing is fucking trash, the story was not going anywhere. I put like 10 hours inside the game, and the story didn't even move a budge an inch. I'm still stuck at doing nothing, pretty much. You know? So they just make this and then just what do you call it, divert criticism throughout the game. That's why they do this, pretty much.
to understand it. They don't want to take risks. And
I think this is an opposite. They don't want to take risk, but this is like a completely on the other end, though. You know, they just made a full 180 and then they made the game super. What do you call it? Bad.
Yeah, like whenever I was playing Metaphor, I was doing Stroll's questline, and I couldn't find the fish vendor. And do you want to know why I couldn't find the fish vendor? It's because I wasn't really paying attention while I was reading the quest, and I was mentally AFK.
Yep.
Now, I found it. I didn't have to look on the Google either. It took me 30 minutes. That would
No, I think it took me like 10 minutes. It's not that hard to
have
find
never
that guy.
happened in Dragon Age Veilguard. They were to say, oh, the fish
Yeah.
vendor. Oh, and there'd be like 7 NPCs that you're walking towards. Oh, I sure like eating fish from the fish vendor that's directly to the left of me.
oh wow, I can't wait to go to the fish vendor that's just a little bit farther next to me. And then there's like, you look at your map and there's an indicator and it says fish vendor. And then your heroes, the companions, are like, hey, yeah, I think the fish vendor's just ahead. Keep going in this direction. And then, like, if you get near him, there's like a big indicator over his head, and it's a fucking fish. It's like, hey, you fucking retard. Click on this guy. Fucking moron.
I think in metaphor, how I found the fish vendor is just I looked at the stalls and then I paid attention to what they are selling. And then one guy sold fish, so the stalls had fishes on them, and then I talked to the other guy. It's not that hard to figure that out. You know,
We
in
need
metaphor.
to make sure devs
Oh,
know
had
we
it
don't
arisen.
like that. We don't play games
We
for
have to
sake.
sever the
We
tail.
don't play games for homogenized dialogue. That is not why we like games.
Yeah.
We like games because they surprise us and they make us think. And they give
We play games to escape from the real world consequences and want to experiment with their thoughts and feelings. You know, in video games, you can do some really, you could say, bad stuff or not socially acceptable stuff in video games, and then you don't have any consequences. That's what most people like to do in video games, pretty much. How many videos you've seen in Baldur's Gate 3 that just people just blowing up other people with kings? You know, people, it's fun, it's entertaining, you know? Jesus. And then you cannot limit the people to have the real world values inside a video game, you know?
give us things we're not expecting. And they're interesting because we haven't done them 50 times before.
Yeah.
That's why we like these games.
Yeah.
The main story in this game is doing that for me, which is why I'm still playing this game. I'm a huge Dragon Age fan.
Really?
The main story and the stuff happening in it right now at the 8 to 10 hour mark.
I'm playing it because I still haven't had gay sex in the game yet. But, I mean, everybody has their own reasons, right?
engaged.
Yeah, I haven't
like
seduced the Chinese
So,
elf yet.
like,
I gotta do
Let's
that.
just take that kind of thing and be a little riskier and more interesting with the writing, and this could be a damn decent, like, we could be having a completely different type of video right now. But yeah,
Well,
that's
they're not
kind of
gonna
where we
change
are.
the writing, it's done.
That's my thoughts on this. I'm gonna
I think the underlying story of the Solas and the two dragon god, the elf gods are kind of interesting. You know? But everything around that
continue
is
playing it.
just bad.
I'm still enjoying it. I'm probably
Hmm.
going to focus the main story. Like, I feel weird saying that in a DA game, but the companion quests and stuff in these games, like, we may do some to check them, but I don't know. I don't know what all I know for sure is that as of now, I plan on finishing the main story because I do want to see what the main story has to offer. I do love Solus. I love the characters. I want to see what's going to happen to him. But
Is Solus a good character?
Yeah.
I think that he is the only character that I would say could be considered as good. I don't find any of the other characters interesting at all. I think
I think
Solus
Solus
is the
and
only
then
character
Warwick.
that, at least so far in like my experience in the game, is okay. He used to be? Well, no, that's my opinion, right? Like, I think that, like,
Warwick is
compared
kinda
to all the
interesting
other
too,
characters,
also.
he's pretty much the best one. That's my opinion.
Hmm.
Varric? I think Varric is okay. I like Varric, but I think Solus is a more compelling character. Personally. It's not because he's bald. Shut the fuck.
yeah, that's where we are. So anyway, TLDR.
No.
Thoughts on Dragon Age Veilguard? Some really good parts that are unfortunately obfuscated by some really lackluster parts.
True.
The total
I
package,
gotta see the really good parts.
if you
I gotta
can bear
search
with
for
the
that.
bad parts, is not a bad game. But if you are
Yeah.
playing Dragon Age Veilguard
You gotta eat
for
around
the
the dick.
immersion, for the immersive dialogue, for the same reasons you super enjoyed Baldur's Gate 3, you can't hate on someone for not liking this game.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that in mind. It's totally valid to not like this game. You don't need to shout people
Well,
down.
hey. It's totally valid to not like any game, right? Like, if you don't like a game for whatever reason, totally fair.
Yeah.
I never was a big fan of
Absolutely.
Minecraft. I never really liked Minecraft. I acknowledge Minecraft is a generational level incredible game, but I'm just not really a fan. Yeah, it's just me. Want to follow? Yeah, I guess so.
Say that. But it's also not valid to say the game is complete garbage. Because there's parts of this game that are actually pretty damn good.
I agree with that. I do not think it is complete garbage. I don't. I don't think the game's complete garbage.
What about my thoughts about this? Is this game complete garbage? Yeah. For its price, yes.
I think it is slightly above
You do not dare to ask full box price for this game. It's not worth it.
average.
It's made as a...
It's partial garbage.
Yo,
So
thank you
it's a
for the
mixed bag.
follow.
It's a real mixed
Thank you for
bag.
dropping by. I really appreciate it.
It's again, there's parts that are really good and there are parts that are just really not.
Mhm.
But I'd say the overall picture, it's definitely, for me so far, it's been worth playing.
Somebody says, what's the last complete garbage game you've played? Star Wars Outlaws. Literal piece of shit. Ooh, it was so bad.
Ooh, for me, it's Unknown 9
It was
Awakening.
such a bad
God
game.
damn, that
Like,
game was
Zenless Zone
miserable.
Zero put Star Wars Outlaws into fucking dirt. At least you can jerk off to Zenless Zone Zero. Star Wars Outlaws, I think if you do that, you get banned.
That's the only thing you can do in that game.
Fuck no. Game sucks dick. That was, I remember after I played Star Wars Outlaws, I was sitting outside for like an hour. Like decompressing. Like I've watched ISIS executions where like, or like cartels where like they behead somebody. And I'm like, ha, wow, that sucks for him. And I just go about my day, right? I'm like eating ice cream. But like after playing Star Wars Outlaws for 2 hours, I had to recover.
That bad? Goddamn.
The combated stuff is fun enough to where it's worth playing. And we'll kind of see if that keeps up all the way to the end. Anyway.
Another suspension?
That's it.
Already?
I hope this helps in what little way. I do want to end this video by saying the best decision that you can make on a game like this is your own.
Mm-hmm.
Use this video and
The best decision you can make in this game on your own is buy your own to wait for a sale and then buy this game at $30. Or just you don't even have to buy the game. You can just what do you call it? Look up like a full walkthrough of the game and then get it over with. Because this game, the combat is a bit clunky. The story is not going anywhere. The dialogue is cringe. So what's the point of playing the game? You know? I mean, if you like it to look at good graphics, maybe. That's the only redeeming factor of this game, dude. It has good graphics and it runs well.
any others to
That's it.
educate yourself and inform yourself, and the most importantly,
Just watch gameplay. Watch gameplay. See if it's good. Do that.
Yeah.
streams and make your own opinion.
Pretty
Don't
much,
let
that's what
somebody
I
tell you
said.
how this game is.
Yep.
You've never played it.
Show, don't tell.
You don't know.
Look at
Don't let somebody. Don't ever let anyone dictate how you feel about a video game.
Exactly.
Because frankly, that's
yeah,
not
it's like what was that? What
Yeah,
was
fuck
that
you,
total
everything is
biscuit?
garbage.
Do not let a balding middle-aged man on the internet be the gatekeeper of being able to enjoy a video game. Yeah, fucking true.
fair to you, and you may miss something that you actually might really like.
Yep.
So don't do that.
I think you should try a demo.
That's it.
Like if this
Thank
game
you
has
all
a
for
demo,
watching.
check out the
I hope
demo.
this helped in what little way it might, and I'm gonna go back and keep playing. So I'll see you later.
There it is. There it is. I pretty much agree with everything he said. I personally think that the game, like dialogue is kind of shit. That's definitely an issue. Inquisition was bland. Veilguard looks even blander. There's the video. Give it a like. Co Carnage is a fucking legend. Watch what IGN wrote about Dragon's Dogma. I don't know what they said. I don't know what it was. I have no idea. I'd have to take. Somebody got to link it to me, something like that. 7.5 out of 10. I think the game is a solid fucking 6 right now. It's a solid 6. I'm gonna play a little bit more of it in a little while today, guys. We're gonna take a look a little bit more at it. After today, I'm gonna be real. There are so many other games coming out. I'm not really gonna have time to keep playing it.
Oh, he's gonna quit? Okay.
That's just the truth. Like, we got so much else going on. Like, Monster Hunter Wilds beta comes out. We're going to play that tomorrow. Ashes of Creation. We've got the fucking election coming out. Is coming out is a good way to say that? Is it like the election release? You know, and then like, so yeah, we have the election release, and then we also get the Donald Trump insurrection DLC if he loses. And so, yeah, I mean, it's, and then, oh yeah, PoE 2 is coming out, right? And then there's a bunch of other games that I'm going to play. Please skip election. Fuck no, I'm not going to. Please skip the election. No, I'm not going to skip the fucking election. That's like driving home from work and not going to McDonald's. Absolutely, we're going to McDonald's. What the fuck are you talking about? Game Awards. Yeah, there's plenty of stuff going on, man. They banned that guy? You're right. Coming out, yeah, we've got a lot of games coming out. I'll link you guys the video again. And yeah, I agree with pretty much everything Ko's saying here.
Alright, let's keep playing the game.